It's still Tin City this morning. Time check, it is 34 minutes past the top of the hour, 8 o'clock. And with that, we move to our spotlight interview. I have with me Mr. Nnamdi. He's a co-founder and team lead of AXIA Technology and Vision Hub. It's nice to have you on the show.
It's nice to be
Mr.
here.
Mr. Nnamdi.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
We know we don't get to hear a lot of technology and innovation hub, especially in the plateau. So tell us how you started and what was the inspiration.
Okay, it started as a vision. It started as a desire to respond to what we had seen available, not just in Jos, not just in Plateau States, not just in Nigeria, but as much as Africa. So we discovered that particularly Jos had constantly produced good software engineers, or we discovered that those software engineers ended up outside Jos and outside the country. It then means that Jos and Plateau State didn't necessarily have the value they needed to that represented how much they had invested into providing and producing this kind of skilled personnel. And then also, we also discovered that a lot of programmers were skilled, but there were certain parts of their development that was lacking. That's the part of their ethics, the part of their human resource management, the part of the aspects where they handled organizations in the way they should have handled organizations. And then also, we discovered that there was a gap, and that's the third thing. There was a gap in the development and the producing of software engineers. The curriculum in Nigeria and greatly Africa missed a particular stage, which is the secondary to the tertiary stage. So until you finished your university education, you found out that you weren't really necessarily ready for a job. And even graduates, as we all know, have not been ready for jobs. So we thought to build a system, a well thought out curriculum that could produce developers right from secondary school to the universities to the global standards. So we have a curriculum that is vetted by international organizations to provide knowledge for software engineers, data scientists, digital marketers, and other tech-related areas. So that vision was what we translated into an organization, and we've built a system that consistently churns out those kind of professionals.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So you work with secondary schools?
We work with secondary schools, we work with university students, we work with individuals who want to switch careers, and we also help already existing software engineers get better at what they do.
So you want to get it, you create software and data?
Yes, we both have a product aspect where we create products that serve humanity. We also have a consulting aspect where we help organizations with technology that will help get them better. And we have an aspect that helps in the training process that produces those professionals also.
It's amazing because we just had the Girl Child and Day, and the theme for the year was Digital Generation.
Yeah.
And we know that we have a lot of gap between that. A lot of people are illiterate when it comes to technology and all that. So it's amazing what you do. Nick.
So, but for how long have you been into this particular project right now? And then to what degree, to what extent would you say that the project has imparted into the people that you've actually met with and you've done stuff with?
Okay, for the last 3 years, we've been working on the ground. We took a formal phase in the last a little above 1 year. So in the last 1 year, we've consistently produced this kind of people, and we have products already that are serving humanity. So currently, the latest initiative, the AXIA Tech Challenge, was the first initiative that was targeted at secondary schools. It's the first stage is a competition that is meant to hold for secondary school students, but the goal is beyond the competition. It's meant to produce a consciousness in secondary school students that would set them on the path to becoming professionals. So how far do you want this to go? It's first of all starting from Jos. Our next target from next edition is the North Central region. Then from the next edition, we go to the national level, but our target is Africa, because we know that this deficiency is not just in this region, it's in the continent. So our goal is to provide a consistent professionals that can raise the economic standard of the continent and Africa and Nigeria to match what you have in Asia. Because we also noticed that the Asian nations focused more on technological development over the years, and now their economies are reaping the benefits of those switches they put on those focus they put on technological development over the normal conventional education. So that's how far we plan to go. Africa, we are focusing on Jos and Plateau States for the first editions.
So, but why are you focused on just Africa? Why not going globally?
You're supposed to start from home.
Yeah,
So,
of course.
so usually the concept we had in our mind is once we've hit one stage, plateau state, we take the lessons, we move to the North Central, we take the lessons and we move to the national, because it's something that's a long journey. We don't just want to be a name that just comes up and disappears. We have a well laid out plan for our last generations. So we are moving progressively, learning the ropes around all these new regions and the intricacies around them.
So why are you not thinking beyond Africa?
Okay, for now, the West is more like a standard. When you talk about the Americas, Europe, technologically, they are the standard. And so far, they've been pioneering a lot of development that we are using as people. But we believe in empowerment. We believe in empowering this continent beyond just doing what everybody else around the world is doing. So we are taking those things from the West. So we are looking at them, taking their standards in technology, adding them to our systems with the goal of becoming better. Because we know that if we handle those things, we would most likely evolve, because we have the manpower, we have the human resources. The world currently is focused on Africa. Africa is one pool that produces one of the highest number of technological specialists globally. So rather than serve those systems, which we'll end up serving, we want to build more, we want to build what is missing, and we want to also build people who don't have those advantages already. So that's why we're focusing on Africa. Definitely, we'll be heard across the world, then we'll provide the services to them.
You know the phrase that says, if you want to hide anything from an African, put it in a book. We actually have this perception that Africans are actually backward when it comes to the technology. And from your AXIA Tech challenge that started, what is your evaluation? Do you think we can actually bridge that gap? And how soon can we become one of the leading countries or continent in technology?
You know, we have a strategy that is focusing on the next generation, because a lot of people who are already of employable age are a bit set in their way. So we felt if we take on the secondary school and create an enabling atmosphere in secondary schools through this challenge, we'll be able to set them early on a path, so that by the time they're going out of the secondary schools into the universities, they already know what they want to do, and they're not just going to the universities to do the normal thing everybody before them had done. They are going with questions, they are going with inquiry that will help them be global beaters. So that gap is what we are trying to do by engaging the secondary school students. When we had the first stage on the 8th of this month, we took random feedback from the students and the teachers, and they said they hadn't seen something like this before, and that the standard was very high. And we thought to raise the standard so high, so that rather than lowering the standard to meet what we have, we raise it high so that the schools can rise up to meet the standards we've set. And then I believe it will benefit everybody, the economy, the system, the ecosystem, and all. So that gap is what we're trying to fill up in secondary schools.
Due to your tech challenge, where were you able to assess from the work secondary schools are doing on their pupils? Do you think they do a lot of work in ensuring that they actually rise, or are they just doing business as usual?
I actually think it's a mix of both. We have secondary schools, we have institutions that are doing well. Those institutions are usually institutions that are taking it upon themselves to focus on building the quality we want to see. But majority of schools, majority of institutions of training bodies are not necessarily meeting up to the standard. So most times when you find people who are very good at what they do, they are self-taught.
So what do you think is responsible for them not being able to meet up to the standards?
It's partly a personal thing, and also the curriculum thing, and the educational system issue. We have an educational system that is not necessarily meeting up to the standard globally. The educational system we still have is still focused on theory, while the world is placing a demand on solutions.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh. So even from the very first contact we have with the secondary school students, we are changing their mindset to focus on solutions. Because we can't wait for the government. That's why the private sector is stepping in. We can't wait for the government, so we are bringing in initiatives that will help the students look beyond school. And not just look beyond school, but look beyond school to the standards that the world is already working by.
So what measure are you putting in place, considering this prevalent challenge that we are having right now, having the educational system being able to inhibit the level in which people get to meet up with the standards that you are actually expecting them to meet up with? So what measure are you really putting up in order to curtail or to take care of this prevalent challenge that we have with the educational system?
Okay, another aspect of AXIA Hub is the academic aspect. We train. So far, we've trained software engineers. Every staff at AXIA Hub today was trained by AXIA Hub.
So apparently you're saying that this training occurs outside of school environment?
we have two phases. We have the phase that handles the secondary school environment, and we have that handles outside the secondary school environment. So we are infiltrating the curriculums of schools to help them understand these things that are missing, and possibly we are sending instructors to them also. Then we also have the aspects for people who are not necessarily tied to the secondary schools who still want to develop themselves. And then lately we've also had secondary school students who during summer come over to our facility to get trained. Yes.
So what's the importance of all this? I know we cannot hide from the fact that we're actually going global and technology is actually taking the frontiers. So what importance is this? Why do you want people to actually key into this?
The goal is to be self-sustaining as individuals, and self-sustaining as a region, self-sustaining as a country, and self-sustaining as a continent. So we believe if you empower individuals, you would empower your country. If we have individuals who are not necessarily depending on the government, it can bring in the value that the government can now thrive by. So the two goals is technological innovation and also economic expansion. We believe technology is an untapped area. So if we have more people who are into technology and who are professionals and who are skilled, we'll be able to get more foreign investment, and we'll move the flow of resources back to Africa and back to this path, so that we are no longer so dependent on the country, on the governments to sustain ourselves. That's the idea, technology and economy. So we believe if you give people skills, they can now provide value for themselves. One person who is skilled, who is earning properly, would help his family, would help his society, would help his streets. There will be less vices on the streets. There will be less insecurity because people are more focused on a goal by what they have, which is a skill that is marketable.
So assuming all this works out, what span of time will we be able to bridge the gap?
It's a long journey.
Yeah.
From the very first person we released into the society that's a trained professional, we've made one step in bridging the gap. We believe if you train one person, he trains another person. So it's something that is a system we've built that will consistently run. It's gradually, most of these changes don't happen overnight. Just the same way the decay didn't happen overnight. So it's a journey we are starting. We're both addressing the current professionals we have, the current graduates we have, and the secondary school level we have. But the intensity we are giving to the university and secondary school level is higher because we know they are not yet in the market. So it's a full system we've built for post-university, university, and secondary school level. And then even we had a summer program for kids, primary school kids. So it's a long journey, and we are working hard to build the system that will sustain it long term, not just once. It's a long journey.
So with the level of impact that you've had lately, and also the amount of effort that you've put in place in order to see that this vision thrives in our society, what would be your estimate in regards to how much spread or how much of impact you would make, like in years to come? What would be your estimation?
Okay, there's another aspect to answer this question. It's not just about us.
Okay.
We want to be a trigger to ensure that organizations like us spring up. We can't really do this work alone. But we want to raise a model that other people who have the same vision can copy. So if we have another AXIA hub with another name somewhere else, we have another hub here in this location, in this local government, you have that because you set a standard, people can look at a standard and people can now replicate what you're doing and even improve it. Our goal is not just that we become the center of attention. Our goal is that the system is set across board, that whoever wants to replicate what we are doing are able to replicate it and have the same results that we want to have from our vision. So success for us will be to look around us and see every other person picking up, schools picking up, organizations springing up that have the same vision for Africa and the same vision for Nigeria.
All right, because of time, tell us about this AXIA Tech Challenge. Is a pilot?
Yes.
Yeah, so tell us about it.
Okay, so it's a secondary school challenge. There will be a university edition when schools begin formally. So what we did is that, still in line with our vision to bridge that gap, we contacted as much as 30 secondary schools in Jos, Plateau State, and we filtered them down to about 10 for the quarterfinal stage. Now what we did is that in 4 stages, the preliminaries, the quarterfinals, semifinals, and the grand finale, we exposed these students to tests, time-based tests, oral tests, written tests, and live programming session tests. Now, the goal is to help test these aspects that they require and send help to them and give them guidance. So they go as well. So we, from the first stage, they were tested. After the first stage, we have 7 schools progress to the semi-finals, and after the semi-finals, 5 schools go to the grand finale, which is on the 19th of October. And in that grand finale, we are going to have live coding sessions. All of this, we are trying to inculcate the thought process required for somebody to start a system to a product. So we want to build in these students the solution-driven mindset. So the event is structured in such a way that from the preliminaries, we start from the basics and we test them on it. So now we also discovered that certain schools don't necessarily have the system to prepare their students for this.
Okay.
So we did something else. We are sending instructors to them. So currently, as we speak, we have instructors that are heading out to the participating schools, preparing them in the light of what they'll be tested on.
Wow.
Now, so it's a long journey of triggering growth and triggering innovation in the school. So that's what this challenge is for.
And this is for free?
It's actually for free. It's an aspect of our organization that we believe is important, which is giving back to the society. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean we are taking care of every responsibility. We're able to look around us and look for people who could partner with us, who have the same vision, to aid us in certain services that would aid us achieve this vision. But it's totally free. No school was charged. And that was the first question they always asked us, how much are we paying? Now we told them, no. We have a vision. And we believe if you put money before the vision, we'll never achieve the vision.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's what is driving us.
So what criteria do you have in adopting or having to regroup the people, the facilitators that you have, that you're sending to these institutions to empower these fellows?
Okay, like I said, every staff at the hub was trained by us.
Okay.
Yes, so we didn't just train them with skill, we train them with a culture.
So invariably, they don't, through their training, they don't live with the ideology that they have to be paid for what they are given to
That's
the
one major thing we try to correct.
Okay.
In the ideology of the average software engineer. Because the average software engineer that is focused on I give and I get doesn't prioritize value, doesn't prioritize solution, doesn't prioritize their clients. So there's also another aspect that these people are also software engineers. So they freelance, they have other sources of income, but they understand from the way we train you, you would notice that there's a focus we are shifting. It's more of a mind shift. Most of the challenges we have in the society is in our mind. It's beyond skill. You can have people with skill, but they don't have values. You end up having more problem because if you give a skilled man without values, put a skilled man without values in society, you most likely use his skills to cause more harm.
Okay, Mr. Nnamdi, because of time now, in just brief words, could you please just say something to aspiring software engineers, developers out there?
Okay, I've been in this for about 10 years now, software engineer. And one thing I would say is software engineering is a field that you have to be self-motivated. You can't look around you to get motivated. It needs discipline. So for aspiring software engineers, you need to just work on your culture of discipline, and you need to look beyond your circumstance. Take advantage of the internet and research. Follow people who are thriving in your sector, people who are thriving in this particular area. The organizations globally providing solutions. Follow them such that your standard will not become what you see around you, but to become what you see globally.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Nnamdi Ibe. He is the co-founder and team lead of AXIA Technology and Innovative Hub. We hope and wish you all the best in your endeavor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
All the best, man.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we'll go for a short breather. Intensity this morning still continues. We still have a few more minutes to wrap up, and we'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.